He and his kid were driving along when they saw a stray cat. It was unclean and had ragged fur. They promptly exited the vehicle. The cat did something unusual. Members of the Gallant family, including Davy, had a soft spot for felines. Perhaps the animals always figured out a way to his house because they knew they were safe there with his family. That's because they were never cat people. Rather, they took in strays who were eager to have them as pets. One of the cats ended up having a significant impact on this household. Davy loved taking his children, ages 6 and 4 at the time, for strolls, but a terrible catastrophe shattered that tradition. The two of them would sometimes go out together. In most cases, though, he was seen accompanying either of them. Davy treasured these times because it allowed him to have meaningful talks with his kids. Davy and his daughter Rose were out for a stroll when a stray cat named Coscus went up to them and meowed, "Sweet child, wouldn't you have a home?" Rose turned to speak to the cat, and the two struck up an unlikely friendship. The kitty, however, raced back into the bushes as soon as she heard her voice. Afraid that she had frightened the cat away, the small girl froze. Davy attempted to reassure his daughter that the cat had returned to its family or that it was just playing hooky, but his daughter argued the cat desired to come along, and if the cat was intended to be ours, she would not have been frightened away. The second time she won't leave. According to Davy, the father and daughter strolled for a little longer before turning around and heading back home. Davy observed the Coscus not even 10 minutes from home. She had taken Toby's ball outside to play with. "Look, it's your pal over here." Rose glanced up as Debbie yelled, "For the time being." For many minutes, the cat just looked at Rose. When it happened, she took off running. Rose was on the verge of tears as she spoke this. She never bothered to contact me, however. Coscus likely had been watching them for a while, so she was already familiar with the place when she informed her father about it. I believe she is testing the waters to see whether she likes living here before deciding to move in permanently. For the next several days, Debbie said, "No one spotted the Coscus." No, she didn't visit us at home either. The Davy and Rose team looked for her but couldn't find her. Roses for an old buddy, if you please. It's possible that Coscus was a ghost who came to watch them, but has since vanished. Rose, however, believed that the cat had chosen another family and moved in with them. A week later, though, they received the most wonderful surprise. Leah, Rose's mom, was out tending to the front yard on a quiet Saturday morning when she saw the Coscus next to a flower. When she realized she had arrived, she yelled for everyone to leave the home at once. They couldn't believe what they were seeing and continued looking at the Coscus in disbelief, but the cat seemed unfazed. She gave her undivided attention to each member of the clan in turn. The cat had lost weight and seemed sad and neglected. "Greetings, Swoonson One. Please enter." In an unexpected move, Rose waved just as Cat and Fluffy promptly acted upon her signal. A stray cat made its way right up to her. As soon as they did, everyone saw that she was limping. They reasoned that the tiny child must have banged something with her foot. "For what reason did you wait so long before contacting us?" "The cat purred," Rose remarked. Davy administered some ointment to the cat's leg as the rest of the family, overjoyed at their new arrival, ran to the kitchen for milk and cheese. The cat was thrilled to discover how warmly her new family accepted her. And she did too, emerging from her reserve. Toby's ball was hiding in a nook, and she sprinted over to it and never let go of it. In the months that followed, the kitten's significance to the family grew, and one night, Cosco ate supper with them. When Rose and Toby went to school, she would spend the day pining for them, so they never arranged plans without including her. She never failed to be there to greet them when they returned, having memorized their arrival time. This family fell hopelessly in love with the kitten's kind nature and has since Rose seen it grow into a lovely and robust cat. Until 14 years of age, she was a joyful and active cat. Due to his loss of appetite and subsequent slenderness, Rose became the first to detect anything was wrong. The family rushed their cat to the clinic, who confirmed their worst fears. Feline cardiomyopathy is terminal. This meant that for the following several days, he was showered with the affection and tenderness of the whole family. It was a week following the diagnosis that everyone awoke except for her, since she had died during the night. The family was devastated by their loss, even though they cared deeply for this animal. Because of this, they were very apprehensive about having any more children. It was a terrible thing that happened, although nobody could have predicted that a cat would end up being the one to save this wonderful family. For almost 3 full calendar years, everyone was too chicken to take in another cat. They sometimes ran with strays, but they always gave them good wishes and continued on their path. After 14 years of pleasure and ecstasy thanks to Cuscus, they couldn't let go. Nonetheless, Rose had it much more difficult. It hurt so much to care for somebody, yet be unable to cradle her and tell her how much you miss her. But then one day it all shifted. In this family tale, Toby Davy is credited with saving the day when he and his brother Davy came upon a stray cat while returning from their evening walk. The cat was perched on the edge of the roadway. Thin and weak, this cat poked her head through the dense grass as Davy passed. Toby noticed the beast and began screaming abruptly. Before today, whenever Toby had encountered a stray cat, he would have just ignored it. A change occurred in him, though, as his gaze fell upon this particular individual. When she first showed up at our place that morning, she looked much like Cuscus. I came to a dead halt right away. Toby had pointed at the cat, and she was gazing right back at us. When Toby and I exchanged glances, we each knew exactly what the other was thinking. In other words, we were after this cat. We usually let the creatures a few moments to heat up to us, resulting in no fear, no misunderstanding, and it was as obvious as sunshine, Davy added. When they rush in. Toby said, if they get away from us, we offer them a home at the local animal shelter. Despite their initial distaste towards felines, they decided to adopt this kitten. They had a very little window of opportunity to find out. Davy and Toby had hardly gotten out of the vehicle when they were surrounded. This stray puppy made a beeline straight towards them. She was desperately in need of care and affection, and she seemed eager to get it from nobody else than Toby and his father. She suddenly began continuously purring. The signals she sent were clear and unmistakable. Taking the cat with him, Toby returned home. Davy and Toby were worried about getting another cat since they weren't sure whether Leah and Rose were ready. It's interesting that they weren't even supposed to be worried. After they returned home, Rose had gone outside to tend to the plants. The moment the cat saw Rose, she leaped out of the vehicle and rushed in her direction. And then she started cradling Rose's feet in her head and licking them. In fact, it's also something Cuscus enjoys doing. Felines find the greatest comfort, security, and peace at their human's feet. This later, a cat by the name of Barley snatched the flowers and made them cold for all time. That cat was quite confident in her desire to join his family and completely unafraid of anything outside of their comfort zone. She didn't care if it took 1,000 years to persuade them. Leia wasn't sure whether she wanted another cat, but after seeing how much her family was begging for a kitten, she gave in and gave Barley a bath to get rid of the fleas. Throughout the following several days, caring for the animal renewed their passion for Barley. It wasn't premeditated, and they had no choice but to act on their feelings for her. Barley is a happy and brave cat, so we have decided to have a positive outlook and just live in the present. We'll keep our fingers crossed that everything develops for the better. See what happened to Barley after she lived in with his folks for 3 months. She's stunning, right? I hope that they find an abundance of delight in one another.